Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. And now, celebrating 15 years of broadcasting, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM or through WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could be with us. Also, those tuning in through our online affiliates around the world, including Conversations Radio Network. We're glad you guys can be with us as well. I am so excited to welcome model and actress Stefanie Bloom to our program today. She's an individual that for years has been able to do what she loves, both for television and film. This year, she's celebrating a very big release, the film 2050. When I talked to her not only about that project, but also what it's been like for her to work with some amazing castmates over the years, and then, of course, the response to the new film, and let you guys know how to stay connected with her. Stefanie, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Well, look, the pleasure is definitely all mine. I had said to you before we began the segment, Stefanie, you know, when I was prepping for this, I was like, wow, she's been doing a lot of interviews for this film, so I really appreciate you taking out the time. You know, let's kind of begin there, though, Stefanie. I mean, the response to 2050 has been just incredible. I mean, I had a chance to watch a screener myself even before this segment, and what I think is so fascinating is how many layers this film has and how different people are you know, kind of resonating with it. Has that been one of the pleasant surprises for you?
Yeah, you know, I think when people initially hear 2050, they automatically think, wow, is this going to be another, you know, typical sci-fi movie? But there's so many layers to this movie, and I think what you're going to find is that there's more of like a love story. There's human interaction. It's not your the robots aren't really robots in this film, and I think that's what's attracting the audience to this.
And I think heart and feeling is a big part of this film as well, Stefanie. I think you would agree with that. But that also translates into the cast. I mean, to be able to see the way that you guys have been engaged with one another, to be able to see the way you're engaged in talking about it, has that been one of the joys for you as a storyteller on camera to be able to work with individuals just as passionate as you are?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, especially with this cast, they've worked together for years. They know each other personally, and to be brought on to a project where everybody almost already knows each other, I think it just brought that closeness together. Like, I've been accepted into their circle. It's a very, very family-oriented cast, and we still keep in touch to this day. I mean, this has been going on for over 2 years for me personally, but some others much, much longer.
Right. And that leads us to the broader scope of your own story, Stefanie, and this is one of the things that really intrigued me because I think you are definitely an example of someone who's been able to set a goal for themselves, but then not be afraid of doing the work to achieve that goal. You know, as I was reading about your own journey, you know, you talked about, you know, this being something you have always wanted to do. Do you still have those pinch me moments where you kind of say, wow, I actually am literally living my dream?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one day you could be the lead in a film, and then the next day you could be offered background work. I think you just have to appreciate what's coming for you, and especially since, you know, I'm that typical, I want to say almost New York actor. You start from the bottom and you work up. I mean, and there's no overnight success. You have to work at it. So, I mean, I've been doing this since I was 9 years old, on and off, but, you know, it's just whatever interests you. I started off with modeling, then it went to commercials, and it progressed into film. I think TV and film is where my heart is, but, I mean, you know, it's a very family business, and not knowing anybody in this field and working from the bottom up, I think you learn to appreciate it a little bit better.
Right. I think that is so true. And I think, too, I mean, knowing that, I mean, the payoff, right? I mean, as I said, even before 2050, Stefanie, you've been able to be a part of some amazing projects, both, you know, for television and film. You know, what is it that initially attracts you to a project? I'm
going to say the character and storyline, absolutely number one. You know, nobody's picky. I mean, if you get work, you work, but I mean, a character like Sophia, I was just immediately drawn to her character. It had nothing to do with sci-fi. It had nothing to do with who was involved. I was just like, wow, I am Sophia. I could play that. And I've just applied that to roles in the past where I've looked at them and been like, wow, that's me. I have to do this. And, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right. Well, social media has definitely been a big part of how yourself and the rest of the cast, Stefanie, have definitely been able to promote this film. It's interesting hearing you talk about the length of time that you were involved in it. You mentioned a lot of them earlier. I think a lot of times we don't, those of us who are movie watchers, maybe some of us who do, are in the media part, we kind of realize that these things don't just happen overnight, right? They really are a process. Did you find that as you were starting to be able to see it, as you were being able to travel now and and do this amazing press run that you're on, that it's been interesting for you to see the reactions to something that you all did give so much heart to?
Yeah, I automatically thought, what? There's people who love sci-fi and there's people who don't. I feel like it's just, one of those things, people either like it or they love it, or like it or they don't. And the New York City screening just was a huge success. And the feedback that I got from it was they saw it more as a love story. And I'm like, wow, that to me, it's just, everybody has their own interpretation on it, but I really thought that was a different outlook on 2050.
Well, it's funny that you said that, because when I was watching it, I think the thing that got me is, going back to why I used the word layers earlier, is that there are so many things, and in that to me is, I think, the love story, but I think also a celebration, ironically, of what makes us human. Do you think that's also one of those takeaways that people are getting too?
Oh, absolutely. I think with an open mind, you just have to, what makes one person happy doesn't necessarily work for the other. And like we were talking about with the layers, there's so many different aspects of this film where you could just look at, David and Irina's relationship and think, okay, he's just cheating on his wife. And then you're like, well, is it okay because it's a robot? Or and then other people take into consideration my relationship with David. And, and then on the other hand, there's so many different scenarios with how each person is with their robot. And I think that's just, and it leaves such an open ending in this film that you're like, wow, okay, I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Right. I think that is one of the big things for sure. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. I'm so excited to welcome model and actress Stefanie Bloom to our program today. We're talking with her not only about her career, what it's been like for her to literally do the work to turn her dream into a reality, and then, of course, the big celebration taking place here in 2019 with the film 2050. One of the things I noticed in following you guys on social media, namely on Facebook, Stefanie, is that one of the things that you guys celebrated in February is being recognized by the Aphrodite Film Festival as Best Fantasy Feature. I mean, this film is already winning awards. I mean, how does that feel to know that the work is being recognized through the film awards industry?
Oh, I think it's great that this film is being recognized in all aspects, not just the acting, not just the directing. I mean, everything is being acknowledged. And when you put so much hard work into something and the long hours that actors do and the crew, I think it's really nice to sit back when the film is released and to see it all play out.
Yeah. There is a very, I think, meta picture of you that I also saw on social media, Stefanie, that I wanted to talk to you about. I think it was at one of the premieres where you were actually in front of the poster for 2050 taking a picture. I mean, do you still have those moments when you, when you are like, wow? I mean, this is all the work has led up to this.
Yes, absolutely. You have to take that minute and all of the chaotic mess. You have to take that 1 minute and just be like, wow, that's me right there.
Yeah.
It was just one of those moments where I was like, wait, before we do anything else, let me get a picture. I mean, it's just, it's one. It's just you're proud of the work you do, and you as an actor you want to continue doing it, but You're only as good as your last gig. So if 2050 was it for me, I'm going to soak it up and enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I mean, as I mentioned, even leading up to this, and even when people look at your work, Stefanie, even going back just the past, let's just say the past 5 years, the roles have been so varied, and that's one of the reasons why I asked you earlier about what attracts you to a role. Because one thing that people cannot say about you is that you're a one note, right? I mean, is that also part of the fun that you're not only are bringing these characters to life, but you're able to bring different types of characters to life from project to project?
Yes, that's what I love about this business. You know, one day I'm playing a robot and the next I'm playing a mom. I love the variety. I love the depth that as an actor you could be so many different people. And, you know, for me personally, I have had the luck where I haven't been typecast, where I'm just one role every time. And I think that's what keeps everything so interesting, is that I get to play different roles. And, you know, even with my next project coming up, I am the complete opposite of what I am in this movie, and I love that. I love that. That's why I love acting, and I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing.
Well, one of the other things that's happened, I don't know if it's something that you expected or not, Stefanie, but I wanted to ask you about it, is that not only are you able to live out your dream, but you're giving hope and inspiration to other people who have that same dream, as I'm sure others were able to do to you. How does that feel to know when you hear from people saying how much you have inspired them as well as entertained them?
Oh, I think, you know, even for me, if the table was turned, and, you know, the actors and the models that I look up to, I think you just have to appreciate what you're doing, appreciate knowing that you were chosen out of how many, and just enjoy the process. I think persistence is key, and, you know, like I said, you could be the lead one day and you could be background the next. If you enjoy it, if that's your passion, then you just have to stick with it. And for me, anything that, you know, I started from the bottom up, so I just think for anyone else, if they were to look up to me, that would be my message, would be to, you know what, just stick with it and appreciate it. Right. Appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, I think that, you know what, I'm so glad you said that, because that is one of the things I pray about every day, is to never lose the appreciation, because it is something, as you said, no matter what our profession, it's all fleeting, right? Life is so fleeting, and it can change so quickly. So I think being able to have that appreciation.
It's easy to get caught up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the mix of anything.
Yeah, and especially with the red carpets and the, you know, and the premieres. I mean, it all seems so exciting to us to be able to watch it, Stefanie, but I can imagine, too, you know, how humbling it must also be to know what it took to get to that point. Do you think that is one of the things we don't always realize, is that when we see you guys, you know, taking these pictures or at these events, what it took for you to get there?
Absolutely. You're only seeing a second or a glimpse of, you know, the end product. Like I said before, this was an ongoing project for 2 years, and right. That's just me alone. This was a family project, so, I mean, they've been working on it for a while, and, I mean, just to see it all come together, I think as an actor or in any field, you just appreciate the end product, and I think that if you were there since the beginning, it just gives you that much more appreciation.
Right. And it's so obvious that you have that appreciation, Stefanie. Again, everyone, Stefanie Bloom has been our guest for this segment. Great conversation with you, Stefanie. The new film that everyone is talking about is called 2050. Last thing I will say about 2050 that I love that you guys are doing is that, hey, you guys are, you know, being a part of these premieres. You've been talking about the openings, but, of course, using sites like Fandango where people can actually be able to push for the film to show in their area. I mean, how has technology helped you guys in getting the word out about this?
Oh, I think it's actually great that we're able to use social media to get the word out. You know, back in the day when you were just seeing things on TV, there really wasn't that much internet interaction. I think now it's just a matter of seconds where you can get the message across, and you could tag other people along with you that'll broaden it to an even wider audience, which I think is great.
Exactly. So true. Well, I'm so glad that we had a chance to share this with our radio audience as well as our online audience. Stefanie, really appreciate your time. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Oh, you can stay connected with me I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram. And I'm constantly posting my work and any sort of updates with 2050 constantly all the time.
All right. Well, Stefanie, congratulations to yourself and the rest of the cast, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you, Cyrus.
Thank you, Stefanie. I appreciate that. Same here. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late, you missed part of the conversation with Stefanie, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media sites. So head over to facebook.com/CyrusWebb or go to twitter.com/CyrusWebb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share with your friends from there too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy singing music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make it a great one.